Hey everyone, welcome to a little bit of woo woo. I'm your host, Jill Thomas. Oh my God, I'm so excited. You guys, I love when you guys suggest guests because you guys know stuff. You guys know stuff. And a couple of you guys have said over the months that I should get a broom closet briefing on my show. And I was like, well, I should go check her out. And I did. And she's brilliant. I was amazed at how accurate her political readings were. She's on Substack. She's one of the top rated Substack channels. An enviable number of followers. I was super impressed. I know you guys are going to love her. And we're going to go with Broom Closet Briefing as the name because it is easier to remember. And I want you guys to all go to her Substack. And if that's the name on the screen, it's easier to do that. And, everybody likes their privacy. So we're just going to start with that. So I'm going to introduce her. Broom from Broom Closet Briefing is a best-selling publication. It is. You guys got to check it out. Best-selling publication on Substack, known for her totally accurate, by the way, political readings. I have been doing tarot reading and practicing Chaos Witch for over 2 decades. And my very first question, you guys, because I don't know the answer to this either, what exactly is a Chaos Witch? Can you tell us what that is?
Sure. Hi, Jill.
Hi,
Thank you
I'm so
for having me.
excited.
I go by my name Broom, because privacy concerns.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I am a chaos witch. I want to say like chaos magician is more appropriate than. I mean, I like the word witch. Absolutely, don't no issues. But I think chaos magician makes it more appropriate because so my background is in research and development. I had made a lot of technologies myself. So I have approached magic or witchcraft with a little bit of like a scientific angle through like decoding and breaking it down through quantum physics on what exactly we are doing when we are practicing. And I do come from a pretty long line of witches from my dad's side, like my grandmother's side. uh, but then chaos magic difference, it's the difference between chaos magic and regular witchcraft would be your belief is optional. You don't
Interesting.
have to believe in anything, or you can believe in everything. Like, or I shift my belief system every single day. Today I believe in Hecate, tomorrow I
Oh,
believe in a character I created out of my own head.
I love
so
that.
so my belief is my tool. So if I believe today I live in maybe Hogwarts, tomorrow I live in a world that is similar to Alice in Wonderland. So it is where I can like shapeshift my belief system into believing something that is I just cooked out of my own head. So I think chaos magic works for me is because I am an atheist and I don't think any of the deities or gods are real, and they are not unreal either, because I believe in them and I cannot believe in them either. My belief system is not bound to a religion. that
I
is
love that.
that gives me so much flexibility of working with anyone and everyone that exists in the whole world. And it really worked out with me because I grew up a Hindu Brahmin in a Brahmin family. So
Oh, wow.
we had a polypantheon religion that I grew up in. I grew up in a cult, like a subsect of that, but that is a discussion for another day. But polypantheon gives us the flexibility to like go to any god or whatever, like deities in charge of anything that you want to work. So with the part of the thing that I took out from that is I don't worship any god. I If I want to work with an entity, I think there are filters in my brain that I turn on and off when I'm working, and I'm just channeling the energy. If I am working with Hecate, okay, I'm working with her, like her veil or her secrecy or all of those things, and I'm just turning on a filter in my head. If I'm working with Morrigan, I'm working with her fiery energy of like, okay, I'm gonna just destroy everything and rebuild things from there. So that is the filter I'm turning on. If I'm working with Lilith, I'm channeling my, I don't give flying F to anybody who has to say anything to me. I'm just channeling that energy. So all of these things, like what I say is, I cannot prove or disprove that gods or demons exist, right? We can do that. But my chaos magic allows me to look at them as like a filter or a psyche in my brain that I turn on and off when I'm working with anybody. As a chaos magician, you don't have to work with anybody. You can just do anything you want, like literally no rules.
I love
No.
that. I love that your background too is traditional Hinduism. I grew up in the Self Realization Fellowship, and there's elements of Hinduism in that faith. So I do kind of understand that concept of, thinking about a particular god or an aspect of God, a spirit, and when you're trying to solve a particular problem. And I love that you love Lilith. I love that sort of badass, do whatever you want sort of faith part. And Hecate is for those of you who don't remember, is the spider, goddess of spiders, I think, or something.
She's a goddess of witchcraft and the crossroads, and she holds the key
Okay,
to
I had that
the
wrong.
crossroads. Yeah.
I love that. Love that. Love it. Love it. So we are going to do some predictions if that's okay. Is that okay?
Sure.
Uh, First thing to say, I am not, neither one of us is a doctor, a lawyer, a financial planner. If you need one of those, call one of those. This is for entertainment purposes. Anything that either one of us say, assume it has the word allegedly in front of it, and don't listen to us. Use
Mhm.
your own intuition, use your own wisdom. Don't buy a house based on something that either one of us has said. And that's always true, you guys.
Mhm.
Anything to add to that, Broom?
It's just entertainment purposes only,
There
guys.
you go.
Yeah.
That's the phrase. That's the phrase I left out. Sorry, entertainment purposes only. Okay. Is there anything pressing that you really want people to know right away?
I can't think of anything
Okay.
top
Well,
of my
let's
head.
talk about. I want to talk about this government shutdown. When do you think? Do you have any sense of when that's going to end? Because it's just.
hmm October
Oh,
13th, guys. October 13th.
oh my god! Try to be a little more specific there, will you? The October 13th. Really? What's going to cause it to end? October. It's Monday, right? Monday.
I, I think they're gonna come to a head with the subsidies. They're gonna go with. I think that the chart. I look at a little bit of astrology,
Oh, cool.
also kind of like I'm not great at that because I
Yeah.
have a 3-year-old, so I really don't have time to kind of look at endless charts. But I am saying that even the chart looks like they are going to like come to head with Democrats because the subsidies are gonna go through. So that's what I think. I can be wrong. It is just a reading. I can be wrong. I can be right. I'm a human only. So
I love it. I love that you think it has to do with the subsidies. I was feeling like it was going to come to a head over the air traffic controllers. I because neither side wants the planes to. We keep having more and more plane incidents.
oh yeah.
And
Yeah, that
that's
is. I think that is another reason that is true. I actually didn't think about that, but I think the Medicaid, the Obamacare part is actually kind of really eating them inside because if you see Mike Johnson sees the C snap C
spans.
Span, C-SPAN.
I
Sorry, it's
don't watch it
Friday.
very often either.
Yeah, I'd never watch it. I just somebody sent it to me on my Substack asking like, "Oh, what do you think is gonna happen?" And I'm like, I think that they're going to like the shutdown's gonna go away next week. So I think around October 13th, the chart looks like it's gonna be happening around that time. But give it a couple of days here and there for that. But I think around week second of October we will probably be able to. Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
not
Love
gonna
it.
go because it's not working out for them. I think
Yeah, it's true.
the whole the narrative is kind of falling apart at this point. So and he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize today either. So it's not gonna.
Oh, yeah, actually, we should probably say this is being recorded on October 10th, Friday, October 10th at
Mhm.
10:45 Pacific. Yeah, what a surprise that he didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, did anybody see that coming?
Yeah, everybody saw that coming.
I was shocked that you can't just like blow up countries and stuff and then get the Nobel Peace Prize. Like,
Right, right.
what the hell?
And he bragged about India and Pakistan, the whole thing. I read Indian media, guys, because I
Ooh,
have to,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah, and that is a whole bunch of bullshit. He
You
didn't
could
do
say that.
anything. That's why his best friend, former friend Modi, is not even talking to him. So
I love it. I love talking to people who read media from other countries because I always hear from you guys that the US is not portrayed in a positive light elsewhere. We're not particularly loved. And also that the news that we have here is very different than it is in other countries. A client from France was like, "Do you realize how it's you guys are coming off in France?" I'm like, "No, I guess I didn't." What do you think? Do you feel like India is showing something different than, because you're probably seeing both American news and the India news.
So
What's different?
So Indian news is I wouldn't even trust too much on what we see here because
Okay.
if you talk about freedom of press being suppressed, India is one of the countries that has horrible suppression
Okay.
of press. So everything has to go through. So I think I don't know if you guys look at the democracy, the spectrum. So and all of those countries that are rated at where they are on the spectrum of democracy, India is actually like one step behind dictatorship, full dictatorship.
Wow.
So I don't think people understand that
I
because
didn't know that.
the country is so diverse, and they have a parliamentary style government, right? So the local politics and the party politics, like local parties, they all matter a lot because it's like a huge cultural diversity, right? Like every region is different from the if you cross like 50 miles, it's a different kind of people talking a different language. So it is very hard to completely transform into a dictatorial thing, but it is actually heading towards that, honestly. And if Modi, like, if he gets re-elected again, then it will probably be heading towards that fully. That is one
Wow.
thing.
I'm
So
sorry.
I mean, it's not like, now the thing is that what makes a country like India go down that route, right? Um, because he actually rose from like nothing, right?
Mhm.
He's not a
Mhm.
billionaire who was. It's very different from what we see in US. So he was not a billionaire. He was like a normal salesperson who rose through the ranks and became whatever, right? So people see him as kind of like a person who can actually lead the country, and some of the things that he's doing is actually working out for a lot of people, honestly. That is, that if you want to be a dictator, you have to actually really work for people for a little bit of the time. I don't think this person actually
Interesting.
figured that out. If you go
Yeah.
back and look at like a lot of dictatorial situation which did succeed for a while before people found out that, this is all, this is not going to work out very well for us, you have to work for the people at least a little bit of time to show that to earn their trust, right? To kind of have the grip on them. You can't just start boiling the water right away because the frogs are going to jump out, right? You need to make sure that people don't find out you're boiling the water. So he has been boiling the water ever since what, 2014, right? 2013 or 2014, I think that's the first time he came. And now people are finding out a little bit that, okay, this is not looking good. But it's having a huge tech boom. Huge. Like,
Yeah.
he's like having like a massive technological boom. Now he's being friends with China. So I mean, this is looking really good for the country from the outside, no matter what the situation is when you go into the country. uh, it's complicated. And if he gets re-elected again in another 4 years, then I think we will have a real big problem. Because I mean, he barely got elected like last election cycle. He could get the, because they formed the coalition government, right? So he could get coalition to enough seat in the parliament. But if it does get re-elected again, I think they might have a problem. But we'll see what happens, because it's the age of Aquarius that is coming, like Pluto in Aquarius. So a lot of these leaders who are like dictatorial, they rose together, right, during that
Yeah, I did
Pluto,
notice that.
yeah, the Pluto in Capricorn situation. So he may not come back. We have to see how that thing falls, because yeah.
Well, no, on those note, that's a great question, though. A great segue into what do you think about the leader? What do you think about not Netanyahu and Putin and Trump? Kind of all three, like you said, sort of rose at the same time. Well,
Mhm.
actually, those other two were around longer. Are they all going to kind of cascade,
Yes,
end around the
I,
same time
I
as well?
I think so too. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I do think that the guy in the cold country, I'm not going to name him,
Yeah.
he is right behind this orange person to fall through the domino, because he's very unwell too, and
Yeah.
I think I've predicted that he literally kind of leaves the planet around Christmas time this year. I can be wrong. Again, it's,
Timing's hard for all of us.
and also
Yeah.
it's like the death is such a, I don't predict death of
Right.
people, because
Right.
in my, like, the one thing that kind of has not left me from my Hindu teachings is like there are seven types of different death. So you don't know which death you're talking about when you're predicting like death. Like there is spiritual death, there is like a physical death, there is like a lot of different kind of death which are equally bad. So I kind of like get skeptical when I'm predicting death. But that's why I didn't predict his death. I predicted his removal in October,
Okay.
not his death.
So you
So
think 47 will be removed in October or
yes, he will be
okay.
removed from his position. Now, what would cause that removal? It could be a cascade of different situation, but we will be told a story that, oh,
Yep.
he is,
Yes.
he just wants to spend more time with his family in his last few years
You
or
are
whatever.
so right. This is exactly what I was seeing too. I'm like, we're gonna be told a story. We're probably gonna hear, I don't know, maybe you see it differently. I saw we're probably gonna hear like, oh, he's gonna come back.
Yeah.
He's just taking a break.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
and that
God.
break will not end, and I do think that he's got that airplane that he got, guys. That has a role to play. Nothing happens for free,
Okay.
okay? That airplane is gonna take him directly to Middle East, and he is never gonna come back from there. And he's gonna pick a country where he cannot be extradited from. That is also one thing we have to really pay attention to. This is a huge bold prediction I'm making, and my
Mhm.
husband has put on $100 if I lose that that bet.
Your
And I
husband and
said,
my husband would get along.
and he's like, oh, I'm gonna get so much money from you. I'm like, I don't think so. You will see that. I mean,
Yeah, that's something my husband would do too. I can totally see that. That's awesome. Okay, so you're predicting that he's going to go to someplace without extradition and enjoy his plane there.
yeah, I my money is either on Saudi Arabia or Qatar, so one of
Okay.
those. And he has, I think Saudi Arabia makes more sense in my head because his son-in-law has a lot of
Mhm.
connection to Saudi
Mhm.
Arabia, so
Mhm.
that might be the first, the one, and the second one could be Qatar. So one of those. That's why he accepted the plane. There are a lot of like link to that whole Middle East channel. It may happen, like he may, like finally his exile may happen like by February, but this is all in the works because this whole thing is gonna blow open. Like the Epstein thing is gonna come out. It's
Yeah, that was my next question. Talk about that. What do
yeah,
you see happening there?
it is going to come out. It is like because I don't know how many people of your listeners would understand that the eclipse season is something that really brings everything to the surface, and it doesn't happen on the day of the eclipse. It's like kind of like a reverberation that goes into the next 6 months of time. So we just had the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, and it is going to like bring everything to the surface, and it's going to come out like in the next couple of months. It's going to blow wide open,
Okay.
and there is no way he can stop it because this is like, and the thing is that what we, I think for the nation, what I mean it's a spiritual angle of mine. It's like, um this is almost, I would say that every corruption is embodied in this man. Like every type of corruption that you can see, like money, or real estate, or sex trafficking, or like every kind of corruption is just embodied in this person.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. Yeah, I've not named anybody, okay? All right,
Right, right, it's
yeah,
true.
we're talking about a fictional character
Fictional character.
I
Yeah.
write about. His name is Tangerine,
There
okay?
you
So
go.
just talking about that person. He's part of a novel that I'm writing, and you can read all that
What?
novel in my
On your
Substack.
Substack.
Yeah. So I think it is like the embodiment of all corruption, and it needed to happen because Pluto in Capricorn is all about the shadow work, and I do believe the nation is doing its shadow work, facing all the grotesqueness together. It had to happen, and then we move forward as a nation united. That's it.
I love that. Do you think he's gonna give Maxwell a pardon?
I have to actually still look at it, like specifically asking that question. But I did ask that question back in. Let me see. I think I did it that reading back in July, where I did see that he's kind of boxed in, because if he did give her a pardon, his entire base is gonna freak out. And if you how you're seeing that the rats are jumping ship right now,
Mhm.
it's going to happen so fast that he will be left with like no rats. So that may have, if he does that, that is one thing that he might be thinking. But the other part is that he does nothing, like he's not going to do anything. And then she basically takes this to the court saying that, oh, the president said that this is all a hoax, so like you need to look at these my case in a new light. And again, no federal court is going to look at it. And then she has basically nothing to lose, so she is probably going to sing like a canary. And that is also bad for him. The last thing that they can do is probably Epstein her.
Oh,
And
yeah. Yeah, I didn't see them doing that, but I
yeah.
totally know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so these are the
I thought
three
about it
options
too.
I see. So
Yeah,
I have to still
yeah.
look into exactly which way it is going to go. But if I am him, I would be probably thinking about doing nothing. That is what I would do, because A, his brain is a total mush. I don't think he can even think. Like when he said that, oh, I haven't heard that name in a long while, I think he was honest. I
Oh
think
my god, I totally
because,
agree. His
because he,
body language was right. Like, if you look
yeah,
at his body language, I'm like, "This guy's not lying," or
y-
he really thinks that.
yeah, I do think that his brain is not functioning at all. So I think he doesn't even understand the gravity of the situation. Even if he does anything like that, then what it's gonna be. So his handlers at this point, maybe so the thing is that if he would have thought about, like, would have pardoned her, he would have pardoned her already. That's how I see it. He wouldn't be waiting to, like, oh, they get the 218 signature and the Epstein files comes out, then I'm gonna pardon her. No, I don't think he would do that. He definitely.
I I couldn't tune when I tried to tune into that one too, because people ask me that, they're like all the
Mm.
time, like, "Is she gonna go?" I don't know. I'm not getting a read on that. It's like they haven't decided yet.
Yeah, yeah. I think he is one of the three options before he leaves the presidency. And he will get pardoned by the person behind him because that thing is so similar to Nixon. I don't know why people don't see it.
I know,
I mean,
I know.
the reason why we are in it right now is because of Nixon as well, because he got away with so many issues, right? And also, I don't know, I don't think people are looking at the parallels. They're so stark because during Nixon's presidency, there was another genocide going on the other side of the world, which is my country. Like
Mm,
the
mm,
India,
mm, mm.
The Bangladesh liberation war was going on. I had a lot of family who were killed in that genocide
Oh, I'm so sorry.
because they couldn't leave during the partition of India, so they stayed back in then it was called East Pakistan. So they when they were like trying to get liberated from being Pakistan to Bangladesh, Nixon literally funded West Pakistan to kind of like keep doing the genocide. And although his entire cabinet and his I think his chief of staff, they were all against it, but he didn't care. He kept funding it. And only we had a prime minister, Indira Gandhi. She basically got the Soviet Union to kind of at that time it was Soviet, so they intervened, and then they fought for India while US fought against India. But before they got their troops in there, the Pakistani army had already surrendered, and we already liberated Bangladesh to become the country of its own. So that genocide never got written into the history of genocide. Like, it's still today not considered genocide. And we are in the same situation again. Something that people are inherently not acknowledging that it is a genocide, right? And US is aiding and abetting in that. So I don't know why people can't see the parallel. We are literally going through the same arc right now, and it is going to end up in the same arc. So, which basically means I think Nixon's AG went to jail. And
Ooh, yeah. Oh my god, I was totally seeing that too. Like, I was seeing her getting
yeah,
handcuffs, and I was
yeah.
like, "How is Vance not pardoning her?" But
Oh,
I
he won't. He will totally clean house. Oh, I think the people who think that he's more dangerous, I don't think he will be very surprising. Not like good way or bad way in a way. Like, he
okay.
has like the charisma of a rock,
Yep.
but he will clean house. He will totally have like a new group of people, because he would basically want nothing to do with all the like the issues that this administration is going through, like all of the scandals, he would want a clean slate for himself. Even then it's not going to work, but he will totally clean house. Absolutely. And he will probably eventually end up governing for whatever amount of time he's going to be there, for like a very generic Republican, like a president that used to be like nothing's happening kind of a president, like nothing. Like he will,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Almost like a almost like Mitt Romney would have been, I think.
I
Maybe
think
not.
Mitt Romney would have a little bit more charisma
That's
than
true.
that
I
guy.
actually kind
Yeah,
of liked him, even though
yeah,
he wasn't my guy. I was like,
yeah,
when you tune into his energy, he felt like a decent human being.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean,
surprisingly, right?
yeah,
As a politician, you're like, I don't think he would get us into trouble.
yeah. And
Interesting. Oh, go
and
ahead.
also, like, I do see the pattern, right? If you look at the patterns, I mean, I am a pattern reader, I'm
Hmm.
neurodivergent slightly, so that makes more sense to me. Like for this guy, the orange person, you would see that every time he's there, like people around him, their life kind of fall apart, right? Because he's basically sucking
Yep.
their energy to keep himself. That's exactly how energy vampire works, right?
Hmm.
And for this guy, the eyeliner guy, is if you see, like, his every stint of his is shorter than the previous one. So he was elected senator. He didn't serve his full senate, right? 6 years. He was elected in 2003, and no, sorry, 2013, not 13, 2023. Sorry. 2023. So he didn't serve his whole term, which is should have been 2029. So he got elected vice president. He's not going to be vice president for too long either, because he's probably going to be president. And each of them is shorter than the other one. So I think his presidency would also be super short with, I don't know, some weird turn of events. I don't know what happens. We'll,
Okay.
s-
Yeah.
we'll
I was gonna
see.
ask what. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure either because I
Yeah.
was seeing the same thing, but I wasn't sure how it was gonna play out because like it's one of those things where, and I'm sure you can understand this, Broom, is that you see something, but you're like, how could this happen? And you
Yeah.
can't figure it out, but you can see the end result.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think tarot and a lot of those things will, if you ask the questions too early on, they will just give you, okay, this is what is gonna happen. And it's kind of like the cards were screaming and saying that, come back to me when there is more information or something
Oh,
like
I
that.
like
Like it's
that.
like, yeah. So I think that's why I don't want to make predictions like too much into the
Hmm.
future, like 2 3 years or something. Even like people are asking, like pressing question, okay, we become a dictatorship? I don't think so. We never become a dictatorship. If America wanted to become a dictatorship, they had many contenders before that would have like turned it into a dictatorship. Do you think this guy would? Okay, I rest my case there. I just like, no. Like we
You
had,
are so awesome. I love the way you word things. It's so cool. That's so great. So, okay, so yeah, my next question was about Bondi, and we covered that. And so you think he's going to get rid of all of his? Whoa, RFK, please, please say he's
yeah,
gone.
I do think he's gonna get rid of him sometimes in April, because that's where he, and I think his, I don't see anything beyond that for him
Okay,
after April. I think I did a reading. I haven't published it on Substack yet, but I have done it because I had concern, because I have a 3 year old. I need his vaccinations to be done. Like I don't want people to kind of tell me like, oh, you he cannot get certain vaccinations, because it was like, I come from a country where we literally lose people to like epidemics. Like if
hmm,
villages go completely like, like gets wiped out through like bad, because we don't have good medical or hygiene or medical health. So my mom, she worked for a lot of NGOs where she basically like was propagating a lot of medical help all across like the villages where we don't even have electricity and stuff like that. And here, like, I would give you an instance. When I was growing up back in India, we used to have a person come in the morning, we on a bike, we call it bicycle, like cycle, with 2 cans of milk, raw milk. And then we would give him a container of ours, and he would pour milk out from his can to give. Like we didn't even have packaged milk, and he would say, please boil, scald this milk before you drink, right? And what we are seeing here, you're not going back to drinking raw milk again. I mean, literally, we lost people to all of those, I think, listeria and all of those salmonella. From villages of India is completely wiped out from that. And here you want to go back to drinking raw milk. So it really bothers me in a way, because. Uh, so that's why I was interested to see where we have RFK Jr. Like how long we are gonna have to put up with him. Not long. April is the max. I think he's gonna either step down or gets fired, or he's asked to like resign by the new president. So he will
I
be
want
gone.
to see. I want to see how many gazillion, quadrillion dollars the makers of Tylenol sue the Trump administration
Mm-hmm.
for. Like
Yeah.
$23 trillion, some crazy. I mean, I know it's going to be insane, and it's
Yeah.
going to be that one's going to be funny to watch. I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I love that. I love that. So let's go to these. Ugh, I mean, I'm living right now in air quotes war ravaged Portland. What do you think's going to happen with that, with all of that invading of these little communities? Chicago, Memphis, LA, Portland.
Well, Chicago literally showing what Chicago is made of. So I
Mm,
think I
I like
want,
that.
if anybody who's worried about Chicago and is in your audience, I want you to think like, if you have seen The Handmaid's Tale, right? That is the worst case scenario, right? And even then, even in Handmaid's Tale, Chicago never became part of Gilead. And it is so funny when the art kind of really mimics, which is what a hypersigil is, which I can talk about later. But art kind of like starts to kind of mirror the reality, even though Margaret Atwood wrote that novel, just like she didn't write it as long as how long they made the series. But even in the series, if you look at the Gilead's map was shown several times in the background. Oregon was never part of Gilead, Washington was never part of Gilead, and California was never part of Gilead, and Hawaii was never part of Gilead. Why is that? Because blue states will never give up their their sovereignty. So coming back to your question is, I don't think anything will happen with to Portland or Chicago, and they are gonna they're gonna be asked to go pound sand. Oregon National Guard literally said that, okay, we are gonna protect the citizens. Okay, go pound sand. So that is exactly what's gonna happen. I think there could be like National Guard. I mean, if they're asked to come in, they're probably gonna pick up trash like they did in DC, and that's about it. That's it. It's all show until this guy kind of fades away, which is going to happen very soon. So it's just a few more weeks. I give 6 weeks and we are done with this guy. So and the other person, the Maybelline eyeliner person, will not do any of these things. I can tell you that. He will do other stuff that are not something that we would like, but not all of these like show. This is happening because we elected air quotes the person who is a reality TV star. So he's doing all the things that are reality TV. So I yeah.
I love that. I too watched the general from the Portland National Guard give a little speech, and I was like, okay, I'm not worried anymore. Like
Yeah.
this guy is rational,
Yeah.
calm. He is sensible. Like when you listen to the generals speak, you're like, okay, calm, rational,
Yeah.
sensible. I'm not scared of them. I'm a little
Yeah.
scared of the higher up the totem pole, but those guys I'm not worried about. Speaking of that, did you ever tune into what the generals were thinking when they heard had
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I didn't see the whole speech because it's
it
really
was
hard to sit
painful. It
through.
was kind of
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but one thing that I mean, I won't say I couldn't read people's energy very well. I don't
There's a
claim to
lot of
do
people
that.
in that room.
Yeah, so but I do think like what I know about dictatorial powers, right, is that you need the military to become a dictator. You can't have not the military and be a dictator. That never happens. Never ever. It's never going to happen. So the thing is that so one thing that we make fun about our neighboring country, that is Pakistan, that we say that okay, every country has a military, while Pakistan is a military that has a country. So their military is very partisan, right? So in US's case, military is a non-partisan and has always been like that, even though Nixon tried to weaponize the military and try to do illegal stuff, and the military asked him to go pound sand. That's why he resigned. Okay. So so military will not, I mean, if people are worried that, oh my god, is it gonna be like they're gonna like side with the dictator, or they're gonna side with the people, I want you to throw that worry in a dustbin, because it's never going to happen, because that's not how the military is. A cult in US, please understand that. And that cult has always been the way it has always been. They trust each other. They do not trust, as much as I know, because my husband is ex-military as well, so I know it from a little bit of uh, discussion from my home. So that they trust each other, so they will do what they think they are going to do, not somebody like orange baboon telling them what to do. Okay.
I love that.
so
Yeah,
so
I love that.
and I've never seen the military siding with this thing, never. Like I this was my first concern ever when I read the Project 2025 back in I think 2023, actually, because I used to write a blog about working moms and the issues that we face and all that. And I don't know how I came across a article where they were like trying to like in 2020 the Project 2025, there is a section where they are literally penalizing single mothers will have to pay more taxes or all of those things. There's a whole section of it. And I'm like, why would anybody publish this, like monstrosity, and even think about like not getting backlash? And then I saw that, okay, this is their mandate or whatever. And in there, basically, they had that section where they want a military to kind of side with there's a whole, like, it's not written very clearly, it's obscure, but it's there. So if you want dictatorial powers, you need military, and that is never going to happen in America. It never happened in 250 years. It's never going to happen, because military is a cult of its own. It's not going to follow another cult, if
I
that
love
clear.
it. I love
Yeah.
it. That's very reassuring. So can we talk about the economy? What do you see coming with the economy?
I think I did a reading on that because a lot of people were worried.
Mhm.
So I think in that, basically, I did not see a 2008 level. Uh, well, let me see. Let me pull that up. I think I don't did not see the Great Depression. Right. I think that was one of the question that was asked, like whether or not we are going to see a Great Depression. Like, I did not see that, but I did see something temporary, like a 2008 kind of a sink. um Let me see. I think the article is called "The Banquet, the Collapse, and the Reckoning: 6 months of the US economy." So I would just tell you what I see there is, winter will be like a collapse of a fragile sector or a market shock. There will be a huge correction. That's what I see. And then early 2026, there could be some public judgment issues that we can see. And then spring will be a revival. So until spring, there might be a little issues, but it's not as bad as 2000, even as not as bad as 2008. I think that is what I would say. It's going to be hard, but it's not horrible.
I
We
love
will be
that.
good. Yeah.
I love that. And I love for me, like I have seen that, definitely seen that. I'm a student of macroeconomics too, so I look at it not just from the intuitive part, but I see the data, and the data doesn't look good, you guys.
Yeah.
But like I what I love is that a lot of people have opportunities to start little side hustles. They
Yes. Yes.
have like a Substack, a massively popular Substack channel, and earn revenue from that, or just to get paid from their creative endeavors. And that's something that wasn't available in 2008.
Yeah.
I don't even think we had Uber in 2008. I mean, somebody gets fired from a job at Intel, which is, a non-zero chance of that happening if you're from
Hmm.
Intel right now,
Hmm.
and you can make some decent coin, shuttling people to the airport. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's like that wasn't available before.
Yeah, so I think the next part of the economy boom because I think people can understand right now that we are in the late stage of capitalism, right? The next part is not going to be capitalism alone. It's going to be something that cares about the community and not just individual, like a profit or loss, right? So we are moving towards that. That means, I don't know what it is called, but um, it is something that we call like a communal liberalism, not individual liberalism. And the economy is going to follow that route. That is what I think is going to happen, because there are a lot of research that has been done on that what happens after authoritarian attack, right? That is exactly where people become more mindful about each other, and it is revived with like people who are in the liminal spaces, like maybe a woman, or maybe somebody from LGBTQ community who actually leads the way. So don't be surprised if you get a president who is from LGBTQ, or who is from marginalized Black community, or like a woman of color or a person of color.
No
So
way.
yeah,
What do you think about Governor Newsom's chances?
He's gonna run.
Oh yeah.
I
No
I did a
shit.
whole I did a whole reading on him. Am I very excited about that prospect? I don't know. I feel very mixed about that, honestly, at this point. But he's gonna run. He will encounter, like in that reading, I found things can change. Okay, I mean, leading up to what is, but he's probably, if he runs, he's probably gonna win. But if he's challenged by, I don't know if Harris is deciding to run again. I still cannot feel that yet, but I if I look at her chart, it tells me something else. If I'm trying to tap into her energy, it tells me something else. So I'm a little conflicted, but I do know that she leads this country in some way or the other. Does that leading means being president? I don't know. Because there are so many different ways to lead and be the leader of the nation, or the face of the nation, than just being president. I mean, right now we have a president who's not the face of the nation. So so it's like, I don't know. I think to 2026 would be the time when I will actually do the reading where we stand, because things are going to change so much by then that there will be a lot of different other questions going on that. But yeah, I do think he's going to run. He will encounter some kind of a scandalous thing that will come out about him, and if he can overcome that, he will probably win. I think there is going to be a thing that will come out about him. I don't know what it is. Some kind of scandal, some kind of thing that he did while he was governor or lieutenant governor, something like that. There's something from the past that will surface. So that is the only thing I worry about him. If he's a Democratic nominee, we will get behind him. I mean, I feel mixed about him in terms of like his leadership, on what kind of leadership it will be, because we really want an overhaul of the kind of leadership, and he comes across as a very like a generic Democrat to me up until now. If he changes and he kind of becomes somebody else in another year, sure, I mean, I would be very excited. So
I have a lot of the same concerns that you have. As governor of California, he certainly did a lot of things that
yeah,
residents of California weren't excited about. But he's very charismatic, and it's the same thing. Like the Democrats need some help with their story because the
yeah,
Republicans have a "they're coming after us" story, which is pretty compelling. Um, but Republicans don't have I'm sorry, the Democrats don't have enough of that story right now. They need some help with that part of it.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
not they're not listening to me though. That would be my suggestion. And I love what you said about Harris. I've always seen her as as on the Supreme Court, and I've also seen her possibly before getting on the Supreme Court, possibly as like a Secretary of State type role. But I definitely saw her in a role that was more facing than even when she was vice president. I really think she was able to do a lot with that. But
I mean, now through her book, we know why she couldn't. We, I mean, I always felt that they were trying to dim her. I don't know why. Whenever I tapped into her, like if I'm like trying to walk in her shoes, I feel like somebody is pulling up pressure on me. I felt like that whenever, because I really like that woman. Like
I did too.
that woman has such a like a like a person I can talk to vibe. Like this is like unheard of in people, like in politics. And I have seen politics back in India. I've seen politics here, and most of these politicians feel like untouchables. Like I mean, not like not untouchables. Like can't touch them. Like they are like elevated
Yep.
to that.
Yep.
She never came across to me as somebody who's like elevated to like a goddess like a situation, and I always that's why like when there was an opportunity to like do campaigning for, I wouldn't have done for probably anybody else, but I did for her because also she's part Indian. That is one connection I feel through for her. But I feel like I just she felt so like a person of like somebody I can talk to, kind of a person. So
I love
um
it. Love it.
but I do see that she is not done.
Yeah, no, she's not
Whenever
done.
I see her chart, I like, oh, okay, this woman is not done. I don't know why people keep saying that her
Yeah,
career
no,
is
she's
over.
not done. She's
Yeah.
not done. So we're gonna wrap this up, but one final question I had for you, and then I want to open it up and see if there's anything you want to tell us that I hadn't think to ask. But I would love to get your take on the Three Eye Atlas. Do you have any thoughts on what that is? Is it an alien?
I just don't like to talk.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I don't know. I think this is a part that I don't kind of venture out, in the sense that let me see how I can phrase this. Like, I don't get excited about any alien like activity. It is a very weird thing to say, but I don't know. I mean,
That's fair. That's
I'm a
fair.
person of science, but I should be like, oh my god, if I see an alien in front of me, I would be like, okay, whatever, let's move on. Kind of like that is how I am about any like like I know there's a whole group of people who will be so excited about, oh, they're when they were talking about all those flying objects in the sky, and I'm like, are you sure what you're looking at is a real thing? Because like whenever like I mean, I'm very skeptical. How about that? Like, that's why even when I do any kind of tarot reading or anything, I always corroborate it with what data do I have? Like, because that's how my science brain also works, right? I mean, I have tried to amalgamate the woo part and tried to explain it through science a lot. Some things I still can't explain. That the things that some of the feelings that come to me, and then all of a sudden they're true. I do think there are energy like sphere that I tap into, and I can't really explain how. But I've tried to explain a lot. Like in my Patreon, I actually do explain. I approach magic and tarot through neuroscience, not just like a woo. Like because a lot of people are like they want to understand why I see certain things and they are like that way, right? So tarot basically mirrors your brain, right? And those archetypes are actually your brain centers that are being mirrored back to you. So I try to explain that. So the alien thing, I will, if there's an alien in front of me, I'll acknowledge it, but I just don't know. I mean, I just don't feel, I feel very neutral about it. It's like, okay, whatever.
I love it. And when for me personally, because when I've tuned into Three Eye Atlas, I'm like, everybody's talking about it as an alien. I'm like, oh, that's such a great story. But when I tune into it, it just feels like a rock to me.
Yeah.
And then when I tune into the moon, that feels like an airport. That feels like LAX to me. But, um, that's as far as I go with that. I love your explanation. And one of the other things I love about your explanation too is because you come from a science background, I kind of do too, you approach it with a little bit more, grounded energy. And I think
Right.
that's one of the things I love about, and I think that's one of the reasons you're so accurate. When I look at your Substack, when I look at the past, I'm like, she got a whole lot of stuff right, like way more than I did. So I would encourage everyone to check out her Substack, check out her Patreon. Is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel like people should know?
I think you should know that I am like I'm a little neurodivergent. So I look at the past pattern. So that's why astrology makes sense to me, because astrology is not a science. It is a language. Okay. It's like you just look at the past patterns, pattern recognition like on steroid. Like every good astrologer does that really well. So even tarot reading is also kind of like I actually use the method which I teach in my Patreon is basically I'm scrying through the images of the tarot, and scrying through the images makes more sense to me rather than looking at something that is empty and letting my mind run wild, because I have like 50 things going on in my head. So with the tarot image I can focus on and I can see exactly what. So a lot of the times my readers come back to me, oh my god, the image you showed, that is exactly what happened. And I'm like, that is because it is just tapping into our like brain's way of piecing together a story, and that's exactly what I did for you in the article. And it is how we, I mean, human brain is so fascinating. Like every day I uncover something fascinating about human brain, and I'm like, I gotta go talk about this.
I love
uh,
that. No, I love what an awesome thing to be sharing though on Substack and Patreon is like, oh, I figured something out. You guys have to know. I got to tell you all about it.
yeah, and my Substack is not where I do any kind of doom and gloom, and it is something that doom and gloom is absolutely banned. I tell you what the story. I also do news aggregate like every Sunday or like Saturday when there is enough news, and I also give like a little bit of insight on what's going on rather than the sensation of it, where there's like, oh, this is because news media do not follow through on what happened after that sensational headline that he was snapped down in court. You forgot to tell that part. That is
No,
important,
you're
right?
right. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. And they get like a minute and a half to tell a story that should be 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also do that, and I do it in a more grounded way where you can like take a pause, breather, don't freak out, because he has got a 96% fail rate, and we should abide by data that he's going to fail at this as well, because it's the fail rate is way too high to kind of not acknowledge. So It's not 50-50 fail rate, it's 96%. That means it's
No,
gonna fail.
that's pretty freaking high. That's
Yeah.
pretty freaking high. So how I'm gonna put all of your contact information, the Substack, which basically everybody should subscribe. Even this free part has a lot of great information. I'm gonna put all that in the in the notes. But it's nice for people like to hear like how can they find you if they want to subscribe?
So I go by Broom Closet Briefing. If you would be able to find me on the, I think I show up in Faith and Spirituality, which is not
Yeah, you're
very.
like number 20 in faith and spirituality. I'm not even ranked. Like I'm like, wow.
I wish they had something else that I would show up on, or some other category that actually defines me, like a woo category or
I
something
love
like
it.
something like that. But anyways, faith and spirituality is where I show up. The picture looks exactly like the one that is my talking head is here, and you can search me on Patreon, which is Broom Closet Briefing as well. And my Patreon actually has 3 tiers that I am teaching right now. One is the chaos witchcraft, where I teach all the principles of chaos magic. It's a coven, kind of like coven. We do chaos magic is so experimental. It's kind of like my laboratory where we are like trying out stuff to do and see.
And for those of you hearing this, you're like, oh my god, witchcraft. That's Satan. No, it's not as interesting as that, you guys. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. It's
it's
not.
it's a lab. It's
It's
a,
not,
like it's a scientific lab where we are trying to see what works and see what doesn't work. So
it's not as weird as you might think. You might
yeah.
be a little disappointed it's not super crazy.
Yeah, I am atheist, so there I don't believe in demons or in gods.
I'm with you on some of that. I love that. Well, gosh, thank you so much. Stick around for a second after I hit the stop button. I forgot to tell you that before, so that it can upload. But thank you so much. It's been amazing having you. I really appreciate you. I think you're awesome. And you guys, thank you for liking and subscribing. Check out her Patreon and check out her Substack. And hopefully we can convince her to come back again. You
Yeah,
guys,
sure.
awesome. It was so great to
Thank
see you.
you
You
for
take care.
thank you for having me though.
Oh, it was my pleasure. You're amazing. Interesting stuff here. Okay, hold on. Bye bye, guys. I love you. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.